All right, welcome to the Friday podcast, number 102. And I'm with my sister Yvette and my brother-in-law Cody. And you can find them at Third Coast Apex.
Yeah.
What is that for? What is that?
So Third Coast is Texas, like we're the Third Coast, and Apex is the best.
Okay, that's tight. And Yvette speaks cat, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's a cool name. And y'all know me, probably. And we're gonna talk about witch stuff, cause you're in the witchcraft.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So what made you get into that? Cause you used to study with Christians, with Jehovah's Witness, right?
Mm-hmm.
So what made you
I
like?
used to very much love Jesus.
You still do?
I used to very much love him. I mean, I still like him.
Shout out to Jesus, Jesus, if you're watching, and we know that you are.
I still think if Jesus is real, and he could be very much be. I just don't.
I respect everybody's opinions, by the way. We all respect
This
everybody's
isn't
opinions.
about Jesus.
Right. This is about you guys. Oh, I just want to say happy birthday, happy late birthday.
Thank you.
How does it feel to be 31?
Pretty good.
How do you like your 30s?
It feels cool. Feels like I'm a teenager, but in a super body
What do you mean super body?
and a super mind.
Because you know more, you've experienced
Yeah,
more. You're not
but still young.
right.
That's what I mean by like still like.
It's kind of embarrassing how the family calls us, like, because how Elijah thinks I'm just a big kid in the family, and I'm going through like
Oh, and the kids thought I was 15.
crisis in my head. Like I'm like, am I a fucking child?
Yeah.
And shit? It's
Like, oh yeah, well
Yeah,
mentally.
yeah, that's it.
Yeah, that's probably where I fucked. That's where I'm probably like mentally really started. Well, I mean, probably way before that too. But...
Mentally what? Started being a witch?
Oh yeah, I forgot. I was like, wait, this is going somewhere else. This is gonna be like, oh, so she's a witch because of
No.
the fucked up. No, that's not why. So.
What got you into it? Because I met somebody, shout out to Crystal, who got me into crystals and also spirit animals. And that kind of helped me blow up. I mean, kind of blow up the podcast. She was like, hey, when you see an animal, look it up. And then she also taught me how to do, I forgot what they were called, but like little designs, like symbols, and then also,
Runes. No,
not runes. Runes are from the Vikings. Runes are cool. Like, throw the runes. Sigils, sibyls, something like that.
Sigils or something.
Yeah, and then also doing stuff like I did this thing where you write what you want, and then you put some kind of DNA on it, and then you bury it like it's a plant. You plant
In the ground?
Yeah,
Okay.
and I mean I guess it worked, but it's still.
I actually started reading more into stuff that had to do with DNA.
Sounds like that sounds like black witchcraft to me.
You think so? But I'm not doing it like negative stuff to anybody. It's just
Right,
like
no.
for me
Yeah.
to like always
I
have
don't know why the
money.
DNA makes it weird to me.
Well,
Like, I
yeah.
don't know anything about any of it. So.
I just say DNA because I mean it could be saliva,
Right.
right? I'm just gonna say it was saliva.
There you
Let's just say that. Saliva.
From his butt.
No, there was no. I didn't even think about that. I was just thinking, seed and blood.
go. And blood.
I didn't even think about poo poo. That's DNA up the butt, literally. But anyway, so what made you get
I
into
wouldn't
it?
want to do.
Nah, that's too. But maybe it'll work faster. The way drugs work faster. It's more pure DNA because it's like all your insides.
Yeah, I've never done that. Never put drugs in my butt.
That's
I
cool.
mean, I don't think most people.
I don't know if there's ever been a statistic, like nobody's been asked.
That's true.
Oh, when I used to
Study.
hang out with people, most people would say yes.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, really?
It's a suppository, right?
I don't know.
I guess it never came up in conversation for me.
I think that was like a frat house like party thing,
For sure.
like college party thing.
With
early
alcohol,
2000s.
for sure.
Yeah, because they would put tampons with alcohol put in your butt, but also pills because they just go straight to your bloodstream. So there's no filter, which is bad because you need your liver or something,
Yeah,
right?
it just
to
ruins your
filter
liver.
just fucking just straight to your blood. Man. That's witchcraft. That's bad witchcraft.
You know, it's funny. After doing any of that, we should probably light incense.
Doing any of that? You should write it. You should light incense. Or are you just saying? All right, go ahead. No, nothing.
What was I saying?
After doing,
I guess actually after doing drugs, I kind of felt like I wasn't scared of anything anymore. And like even though being in Christianity kind of made it seem like the worst thing you could do is do witchcraft. I felt
like any
and
kind of
also,
sin, you go to hell.
and sex. Like I felt like they just kind of like it was like such like bad things. I don't know. And
Sex, drugs, and rock and roll.
yeah. But that's not even. But yes, I was raised as Christian, as a Jehovah's Witness. That was my first religion. So I read a lot of the Bible growing up. Since I like to say since I was about 4 years old. That's probably one of the first books that we really were in-depthly studying as a family.
Right.
And with the witnesses. I thought it was interesting. I think it's interesting how my mother refused to totally give in to going to the Jehovah's Witnesses. Like she didn't want to like pretty much like give her soul away. I don't think she.
Well, she wasn't ready to do all the weird shit like with the giving up the. No offense, it's not weird, but she didn't find it necessary to take away our childhood experiences by taking away birthdays and Christmas.
And then you would have to be participating in like
constantly like going door to door. Yeah.
She had a full-time job.
Right.
You know. Just certain things she wasn't ready to give into.
I think it's pretty cool that she didn't just dive in. She was just like, let's just study with y'all, but we'll do our own thing.
They didn't want to keep doing that. So, like the other witnesses, not the main lady who would study with, would say like, kind of like, okay, by now with all the years that you've been in it, you should be at like this level.
I hate that.
So that's weird.
That's in everything.
It's kind of like, remember like that Scientology?
But that's also in careers.
Like no matter what level they were on, it wasn't enough.
Or even if there's like the level thing.
Yeah,
there's no freaking level.
That's in masonry.
You can't know this until.
Yeah, like that's weird.
Level 57, yeah.
There's none of that. There should be none of that. I feel like that's just like nobody can say what you can keep away from learning.
Knowledge, right?
Yeah, like
you can't hold knowledge like that.
And
you shouldn't.
Yeah.
You shouldn't.
And I do feel like Christianity tends to do that. Kind of like
what is it called? Religion.
I feel like it kind of keeps us away from our own power, and I feel like a lot of time with
it downplays our power.
And witchcraft really is just like playing on our power.
I think that's also what manifestation is. That's become kind of big.
Oh yeah.
It's very.
This is our own abilities.
It's one-on-one. I'm sure like a lot of Christians could like hardcore Christians could probably say manifestation stuff. Kind of like witchcraft. I don't want them to think of it as so.
They see a lot of them, not all of them. Some see like the crystals as witchcraft, but I'm like, it can be. It's kind of like how people think science and religion should be separate. I think they could always be together, and they are together.
Sure.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And the same thing with like the crystals and the spiritualism type stuff.
They all go with Newton's laws.
Mm.
So with every force. With every like action, there should be
It's the same. There's an equal reaction.
That's the second one, I think, and the first one is like
if you sit under a tree,
like it has to stay. It'll stay in rest unless there's a force being put on it, and then or it'll continue to keep going unless there's like an unequal force being put on it.
Right.
Yeah.
And so like. And just like
isn't everything constantly moving? Also, supposedly.
Everything's always vibrating.
And so whenever anything you give out, it has to. There's always an action. The energy has something. So I just feel like everything, it doesn't make it necessarily. Like okay, I feel like it doesn't have to just be like God or that.
Right.
I feel like it can be both. It's kind of like because there's just some tools that God has for you. It's kind of like you can't like rely on your health on prayer. Be like, God, please let me be healthy.
Or on doctors.
You can't just simply be healthy and then not eat.
And not do anything.
And then not exercise and then not eat vegetables. Like God's be like, I'm not.
Really, he's like, I did that. I gave you these abilities for that.
You know how to do that.
Right.
You're being ignorant.
Right.
And if there's ways of doing that, like being like just say no, I'm not gonna do that. I'm just gonna put it on God. That's like
You're not giving yourself enough credit.
and God
or him
give you all those.
Or
maybe
them.
maybe He gave you those. It's okay to put those powers in your own hands.
Right. He gave us ability to do
And
that.
I've never, and
So I think there's gonna be witches in heaven, basically, and wizards. I don't believe in the. All right, so my thing is, because I've been reading the Bible, and whenever supposedly he said, Jesus said that I'm the only way. Well, first he said something like, I am love, light, and the way, or something. And he said and then I'm the only way you can get through to heaven or get to God. I don't think he's saying that just by accepting me, but by accepting the truth, the way, the light, the things that he equaled himself as. I think it's those things that you have to, those types of ways of living,
Right.
is what he meant. So that means
Like what you study isn't relevant.
right. Whether
how you live.
yeah, that's what he was saying. I am like truth, justice, and whatever.
Right.
So if you live like that, then you're gonna go through to see God. So that's whether you're Muslim, Wiccan, atheist. If you're like a good person and you have like good, you're not fucking people over and shit. I think you're
Sure.
good. I think that's that was the whole message.
Right.
So I think anything that's like just negative towards anybody is bad. Anything that's positive. Because I also read God wouldn't have made anything. He doesn't hate anything because he wouldn't have made it if he hated it. So if he hated witches and witchcraft, he wouldn't have made it exist. Or Satan. Or Lucifer, or whatever you want to call him. Or the negative, because also the yin and the yang and the balance, and you need to know the negative. And there's also that this could be like a classroom, that the earth is a class, and that we're learning and shit.
So whenever I first started doing all this, I was like always just like, no, I'm gonna stay with the light. I always try to like make sure that I always have to stay with the light.
Right. But the darkness is powerful too, and it's important as well.
But we also have to be in touch with our darkness, or accept that we have darkness within us and be friends with our own demons instead of trying to fight our demons.
Or ignore them.
Or ignore them, yeah. Because if you just ignore them, then they're gonna win. Otherwise, they'll destroy you.
For sure, they just win if you ignore them.
So,
You got to befriend them, and train them.
and accept the part of you that's bad. I don't want to say,
Yeah.
because sometimes there's like goodness in our badness, and
Is there badness and goodness?
Oh, I feel like
Probably sometimes, right?
when I started connecting with goddesses, I started becoming stronger. Whenever I used to do drugs,
But that's also you, like, I'm not saying that doesn't exist or they don't exist, but that's also you connecting with your own femininity, that your energy, so you could just be
and it could already just be, I think
In
it's
you.
definitely within me.
right.
And it's connecting to something that I never connected to before, and I didn't have that power because Christianity belittles that power, saying like when
Very
I
misogynistic.
when I started digging deeper into the Jehovah's Witness religion, which I did after, as an adult myself, without my mother, I found out that you have to like just certain things, like you have to, if you're praying with your husband of some sort, like if you're leading the prayer, like you have to have like some kind of headband over your head, just like it's very submissive, saying that
Not
women
even-
are like
Not just in Jehovah's Witness, but just in the Bible, because I read that too. Like Paul's talking about it, where he talks about how like it's shameful if a woman shaves her head, and that they have long hair in order to cover their head, like praying. So it's like a veil that God made them.
yeah.
And it's shameful if a guy has long hair. And so it's just like these tropes that, it's like
But Jesus had long
Jesus never said any of this shit.
No,
It's
yeah.
other people
But
saying
didn't he
this.
have
Yeah.
long hair?
They said his hair was like wool, so he might have had, but it wasn't short.
But yeah, all the
Right.
pictures of him are
Long hair.
Yeah.
Right.
Right, like a
It-
female-ish hair.
and he always hung out with the female. His main friends was his mom and Mary. And so I think there's stuff about Jesus that isn't really told that I feel like would give women more power.
That's how it goes with guys. Like you have your boys, but usually with like the women in your life, you can be a little more honest with.
For sure.
And they were.
And working with them kind of levels you up more than just like you and your boys.
Yeah, you have to have that balance.
Yeah.
And he liked Mary Magdalene. He felt like she was smart. But
I mean, if he was human, he had human emotions. He had to have fallen in love.
For sure.
I bet she was like, she was a woman of the night. I bet she was beautiful.
So you think she's bad?
She was probably bad.
and she's probably super smart. You know.
Street smart and book smart, probably.
I don't know where this idea where just like smart girls are ugly and pretty. You know what I'm trying to say?
Pretty girls are dumb.
Yeah, because even like it seems like in middle schools and like it seems like there's a little pretty smart girl. It's just like a little pretty. And I'm like, wait, that's like on TV too. Why did that? You know what I mean? Like there's that character like Topanga, who was kind of like smarty and knew everything, would raise her hand to every.
She wasn't that pretty until she got like older, or they didn't. She wasn't portrayed as a pretty girl. She was like a weird, nerdy.
I guess so.
Girl who didn't care about her looks like that.
I'm just trying to think. I just feel like that's also another character. But there's these girls like that just like raise their hand like they want to be the one to answer it, and they're
like Legally Blonde.
And it's not ever like.
Was that something that happens maybe in middle school but not high school as much?
Maybe.
There's a point where it becomes, well, hopefully it's not the same anymore. I would think it's not the same, but it was cool to be dumb.
For sure.
Mm.
To make people laugh.
Like that's all that matters.
Yeah.
If you made people laugh though.
Or being dumb. It was just cooler to be dumb and be like, and not to know stuff.
And not care.
Yeah. It was crazy. That's how it was when I was a kid. A teenager. Like playing dumb was cool.
It's very interesting whenever the cool kid, the bad kid, starts to do their work for the day. It makes the other kids do their work for the day. They're the leader. Mm-hmm.
So also, I've talked about my job. I'm a teacher assistant. Yvette's recently become a teacher assistant. And I'm at an elementary school. She's at a middle school. So she's learning, I mean, just being a teacher assistant, you learn a lot about the psychology of...
I'm there to eat these.
Whoa, what the fuck?
Just kidding. Little witch joke. Little witch humor.
A lot of societies used to eat their kids on.
What?
Sacrifice. A lot of societies. I think the Aztecs used to sacrifice the kids. And, I don't know. A lot of people
Xavier is scared to be around you because I meant your son.
You know, it's just like, you know, it was a few hundred years ago I'd be eating you right now.
We'd be really close. And you'd be honored by it.
You would appreciate.
You would feel special. Thank me for eating me.
I think my father wants to eat me.
No.
No, that's crazy. Shredder looked.
We joke about eating our dog all the time. Wait, so what were we?
So, alright.
Oh,
so we're talking about your journey from Christianity to wickedness. Wiccan?
I don't know if I'm a Wiccan.
Spiritual.
Yeah.
So just your spiritual journey, I guess.
Yeah. Did I start doing like? Well, I did start doing witchcraft first. Like I started looking at tarot cards, but I wasn't doing it for good reason. So I did feel like I definitely experienced the threefold rule without realizing what was happening.
Yeah, well, and that was still during the drugs.
But I also was.
Whoa, what's the
sure.
threefold rule?
Whenever you like what you put out, it'll come back to you threefold. So if you put out bad energy, it'll come back to you 3 times bad. But if you put out good energy, it'll come back to you 3 times.
Right. It's like karma.
Karma. But it's just like kind of warning you, like not to do curses on people because
you
it'll
get
come
cursed.
back. Oh yeah, pretty much. Yeah. And yeah, I don't. But I started connecting with goddesses, and that's when I really definitely started feeling like powerful again. And like depending on certain goddesses, I felt like a really like a badass.
Who's your favorite goddess? Or do you have a favorite
my
goddess? Do you have a top
favorite-
3 or 5?
Aphrodite is my number 1 favorite. Durga is the one I pray to like daily because she protects me, and she's a warrior goddess. And she definitely was like, I feel like the motivation to make me like yell at that guy at the apartment complex.
GL Durga.
No,
what is she like?
I was just like,
Aphrodite's like Rome, Greek, right?
She's a Greek goddess.
Durga is too.
Durga is a Hindu goddess. Yeah.
And what's she the goddess of? Does she have like a?
She's a warrior goddess.
Oh, that's right.
Like protection.
Okay. That's tight.
And then Aphrodite is passion. And Aphrodite always gives me a lot of ideas for things. Like after connecting with her, like she gave me the idea to like make cat toys, which I'm still going to. That's still a plan, but it like established a big plan in my head. Right. And whenever I first did it, like
it also just lets you know that anything is possible. That anything you want to do is possible. Whether it's cat toys or whatever, anything.
Yeah.
It can be successful.
And I literally, like, she's like the main one where after I connected with, like, literally feel it. And then I just felt like...
Who's that?
Aphrodite.
Oh, okay. So there's Durga. Who's the third one?
And Vader will even come to me sometimes when I'm connecting with her.
Yeah, it's pretty weird.
And so...
I wonder if that's like one of her animals.
And...
Because they usually use animals. Spirit animals are pretty interesting. Shout out to my spirit animals.
He's very passionate too, so he probably could definitely connect.
Oh, cats I think are like very connected to the spirit realm or something.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
One time I gave my pets, Shredder and Vader,
shrooms.
No.
Oh, that'd be crazy.
I want to say, what's the word? I can't think of the word. Not sacrifices,
CBD.
but
ritualistic.
Like gifts, offerings. But like also from the god, like there are offerings to the gods, but then like instead of discarding them, of throwing them away, I gave them to the animals.
Even in the Bible, they did it like the meat that was like offered, the priests were supposed to eat it and shit or whatever.
And so I did it for New Year's one time. This is when I first like really started getting into it. And it was when we lived at the other apartment. And Vader that night was acting so weird. It kind of like scared me. But he was just being so nice. He was just like, he was doing stuff he's never done before. But like in the air, just like, and yeah, so but yeah. So with her, I feel like it's like, maybe she really likes me. And she also kind of connects with girls who will like sex workers as well, people of those kind of nature. And then
you probably didn't see my badass woman in her street. I think it was last week, but there was a sex worker who was like one of the original creators of like e-commerce. Her stage name, her adult actress name is Asia Carrera, but in the early 90s she coded herself and like she figured out like how to do the e-commerce like herself. So she kind of like started shit.
You know, a lot of women started coding. It's very interesting. A lot of the computer stuff started with as a women thing.
Yeah, it's pretty interesting.
It makes me want to do it more, or look more into it. When I was on drugs, I really wanted to, but the brain couldn't grasp it because of the...
Oh yeah, in early episodes we've talked about my trauma and all the different drugs I've tried. My sister's also tried probably many of the same drugs.
Oh yeah. A lot of them.
Different ones as well. But what do you feel about that? Drugs? You think people should do drugs? Or you think it's you don't need it?
You don't need it. I don't recommend it, especially.
But God made it for a reason.
Okay, I don't.
Playing devil's advocate.
I don't.
Everything in moderation.
I don't regret a lot of it. I feel like, but everyone keep in mind that a lot of us are living with mental illnesses that we are unaware of, and so we're messing with.
Well, that's why we're doing the drugs.
Brain chemicals, and so we could also be making them wrong. And if you're a child, you're still growing. You don't have a fully developed brain until you're 25.
And there's also stories of people who try something and then they snap. And their schizophrenia just takes over.
Yeah, like you can be schizophrenic and then it not come out until you try something.
Right.
So that really does happen.
It's like Terrigen mist turning into an inhuman.
So that stuff does happen. So that's just kind of like, you gotta do your research. You gotta know your body.
It's not for everybody.
Yeah, but
but you don't regret doing it.
No, it taught me a lot about myself. But I realized I was just trying to numb a lot of myself, mask myself.
But you also, have you ever done? Because see, like the ones I've done are like mostly you connect, I think, to like the earth and God, like with mushrooms and LSD. Not so much with
I
with
feel like
yayo.
those are real different category for sure.
The ones I was
like
hooked
Molly
on,
and shit like that.
I felt like I felt like it gave me
Superpowers.
Yeah, like I felt like tough.
It unlocked well, the reason we have those like keyholes in our brain, and those particular drugs have little keys, and and we're just made to be. It's wild.
I was able to do things that I was not wouldn't do.
Yeah. I never did anything special. I mean, definitely with green. I mean, I feel like that's just amazing. Caffeine is a pretty hardcore drug that I feel like I need.
I made a lot of art on drugs.
Yeah.
I didn't really do anything with the art, but like I made a lot of it, and it was really fun doing it.
Yeah.
So, I don't know.
Very
It
confident.
was fun, yeah.
I was very party.
But that was the kind of drugs that you like to pick because, like,
Until the end. Until it became just like a normal life of me just living like a goblin, just doing it.
you went from being a goon to a goblin.
Just doing makeup. Just I would know. I probably stopped doing makeup. First, I was just like totally, like, what's it called? Obsessed with my face or how I looked.
This is CBD. I'll probably put a little sticker to cover the smoke. Boom. Live on camera. Alright, that's pretty tight.
But yeah, so I guess like doom, witchcraft and stuff kind of gave me that. Or I kind of realized that there's more power.
You don't need the drugs.
And I don't feel like
you can have it in you, can unlock it yourself.
The Christian God never gave me that power.
The one that they introduced to us, the one that they.
I felt like there were a lot of times that I felt abandoned and not listened to, and I felt like there were times where I did do everything I was supposed to, and even though he's supposed to forgive all this other stuff, and I feel like it's because there were some parts of God that I was abandoning, that I'm part of, which
feminine side.
The feminine side.
Which we all have.
In which a lot of times the world made feel like it's the bad part.
The weak part.
It's part that I need to like push down.
Keep it in the home. Keep it cooking.
I used to hang out with mostly guys, which I mostly kind of do. Y'all are not even my best friends, but
and your sons.
But I talk to, I have those girls that like will dump like all our life stuff onto each other. Just I need that.
Oh, that's crazy. It's heavy. Why would we do that? I do that too.
I guess they're my coven.
Coven? What's that?
Your witch coven.
Like the group or congregation.
But
School.
you know,
class.
He has always kind of. Okay, so there was this one time.
Oh, I was gonna ask you to do like maybe before we finish, if you do
How
like.
much time do we have?
Oh, whatever. I mean, we're at 28. I was gonna say like an hour.
How much time do we have before we cut off?
Before y'all cut off? What is it? Who are you talking to?
The producer. Like
important. I was like, you scared me kind of. Like, are you talking to those skulls? Kind of creepy. And I was like, is the power gonna go out? What's happening? I was gonna ask you to do like a reading, tarot reading.
I'm not good at them, but we can try it.
Well, we can do our own.
Okay.
We'll read the little book.
I was watching this cartoon of Felix. Was it when we were watching Halloween cartoons and Felix like
old school Felix?
Yeah, he got a tarot reading from an owl, and they used playing cards. Yeah, because you can tarot on those. I don't know.
Probably what they used to use.
Yeah, but
Damn, who made that? I feel like a certain game, I mean, maybe it was a demon, but some kind of otherworldly being created like the card set.
You can make anything.
Like, hey, y'all play this. Like,
you can even read tarot off quarters, off Uno cards.
Fingers.
Whatever
they do.
You want
the gypsies on Peaky Blinders would use leaves. Like, can you read my leaves? And they'll put leaves, and then like if they're making tea.
Oh, that's on Harry Potter.
Oh shit.
But you know, it's obviously more like.
Shout out to J.K. Rowling. Nah, I'm just kidding.
Well, I just read a lot about her. I didn't realize. I mean, a lot of people hate her. I don't know anything bad that she said, but
I think she was like.
I don't like that they're saying that Harry Potter is bad because it's not.
Well, they try to say that was bad because of the witchcraft, because that's Taylor's oldest
No, some
term.
people are saying that it's racist. It has racism, pro-slavery. And I'm just like, hey, it does have racism, but it's not saying it in a positive way. It's like they talk. It's like the bad guys who are racist.
It's like how X-Men does it.
Yeah.
Like the mutants.
And and in the slavery in the books, Hermione like has like the whole thing where like they go against the slavery for the elves.
Yeah.
Which so I'm just like, and still, Harry we want to free the slaves, like free slaves and free the elves.
Okay. The
You know what I
racism thing is the bankers, because supposedly they're like the Jays. But that's pulling. That's like stretching.
I thought it was talking about the mudblood, like they're trying. I was like, well,
I mean, maybe that too, but I remember this reading something about the bankers, the little guy, and then he's like gonna help them, and then he switches on them.
Yeah.
But
you gotta be racist to think about that.
Yeah.
I still don't understand really.
Yeah.
Like honestly, like that doesn't.
But I think she also said something about like trans or something. But then at the same time, she turned around and said a homeboy was gay, so.
I mean, she's old. They
just
say
like,
dumb things.
Yeah.
Especially somebody who doesn't like go out that much. Writers don't go out. She hasn't been out in years. She's just in a little house on a lake, probably.
Have you ever talked to an old person at a grocery store? Like they say some fucked up shit. Like, but they have some
old people. It's ridiculous.
They have some great stories. Though.
I think you got to separate the art from the artist. Just like Michael Jackson, if he did do it, or Kelly. You got to separate the art from the artist. Yeah. Unless they say some wild shit in the song.
And if the art
if the art is
about
like,
what they're doing, yeah.
That's evil stuff.
But there was this time that so I'm in a lot of witchy groups on Facebook and stuff, and one time this guy like posted these like necklaces that said stuff about like
shrunken heads.
No, I just kind of like he wanted to send them to like girls and like saying that this is like his like offering to like the goddesses because like he worships us, right? And so like, well, shit, I want a free necklace.
Can we agree right there? Creepy.
Yeah.
All right.
And okay, but I was just like, well, I mean, I was thinking, well, I mean, like I do.
Was it made out of his hair?
No, like they were really nice necklaces, but I was like, I would like one, and I was gonna have it sent to his job, and then he said, and then I decided to go to the page, because then he like he messaged me and asked me like which one I want, and then and I went to his page and there was like blood, like rituals being done on his whatever, and
timeline.
Yeah.
What do you mean blood ritual?
I don't know, like you can tell like he put there's being blood on like pages.
Drops of it or he smeared it.
Yeah. And like saying it to like the goddess.
That's why when you said DNA earlier, I was like,
yeah.
That's the worst way to get it.
And so I was just like, ooh. I was like, I don't know about that. And so I was just like, never mind. I changed my mind. And I was like,
you can't. That's it. You're done.
Exactly. I was like, no. I
to the end of the movie.
I said that my fiance didn't want it, like, yeah, and I was like, so thank you, I appreciate you, or whatever. Like, I didn't want to be on the bad side of it. So
you put it all on him. Because I was like, oh, let me go to her husband's page and give him all the voodoo and
yeah, I'm sure there's a bunch of girls were like, me, so.
Yeah.
But.
Maybe you were the only one that said me.
Didn't we watch a documentary on
about somebody doing that?
Or the Satanism?
Kind of, but not really. We tried to watch that one, but it got taken down or something.
It was on YouTube? Oh.
But,
so what happened? Did he just leave you alone?
Yeah, he left me alone.
But you watched a documentary about somebody doing that, or what?
Very nice and very respectable.
You have like 5 stars like on his.
No, like he wanted to worship
just free.
me.
That's weird.
Because he respected women. Because
that's too beta.
That's crazy beta.
That's like, what is it called? Not cis, but they're like those dudes that can't. So they just give up. They just can't.
I looked at his pictures and sometimes he does like other ritual type things. Probably lets like women like cut him. Weird stuff.
Yeah.
But
that's bad. That's bad.
It's like
sorry, this is like not making me sound good. I never done any of that.
So what
It's
was
just crazy far extreme people
in everything? Because in Christianity and atheism, there's people who will do the worst and blame it on
Christianity,
anything.
the people that they whip themselves.
Yeah,
right.
That's pretty wild.
Same things, I guess.
Just for a different reason.
Yeah.
But in the end, it's for their own hate of themselves. Is what it is.
Oh yeah.
That was on Sabrina.
The new one.
The cat.
The cat tail.
Yeah.
That shit's crazy. Then somebody did that on Vikings, but he was like a Christian. He was fighting against the Vikings, and then he hooked up with a Viking, but he would do that to himself.
Aren't you a little bit kind of interested in?
Cat telling yourself?
No, not in the cat telling stuff, but like learning about
Wizardry?
Lucifer,
like Satanism and stuff like
or
that?
just Lucifer, like
in general,
who it is or whatever.
I'm curious, maybe you know this, but what kind of angel he was beforehand. But I just feel like there's good in every religion, I guess. And just recent, except I never felt like that for Satanism. But I never really looked at it. I just took it for what people say it is.
I'm sure there's good Satanists, and there's
for sure. I mean, they're
horrible
very.
Satanists.
Just a little bit I've read is like very feminist, or like I don't want to say feminist, but very like worships women in a way.
To an extreme, like they probably like getting.
Yeah,
paid.
actually,
Well, no, there are
actually,
extremes, but like just like
Satanism
Christianity,
isn't like
there's
that at
different
all.
sects. There's sectors or whatever. There's like that for Satan.
Right.
So actual Satanism, I'm pretty sure they put on the light of.
But who decides that they're the actual one? Like Satan's like, oh yeah, that's the one.
Well,
that's
like,
the same thing with the actual
like
Christianity.
the literal like official Satanism like like actual church, the one who's not going to be
California
taxed.
one.
I don't know, like the ones who actually have that.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Like if they're members of the actual church.
Legally.
Like maybe like the Satanist book, people who go by that. Like I'm sure there's people who give. So if they're doing other rituals and stuff, it's not necessarily going to be Satanist, even if they're worshiping a devil or whatever. So Satanism actually puts more light on. I'm pretty sure, like, you know, like that Satan was wanting to do his own thing, and he just didn't feel like everything should be like he wanted to learn.
Yeah, that was the whole story.
Like
no
the
matter
knowledge
what.
thing we were talking about earlier. Like you shouldn't withhold knowledge.
Yeah.
And it's kind of like, and if you kind of start thinking about it, like once I'm in camp, this girl was telling me, it's kind of interesting.
What kind of camp?
Summer camp, STEM camp. I was working at, and she was saying, we were talking about religion. She grew up as a Christian, and she still is a Christian, but she said she just has these questions that, like, she said right away whenever she would hear the story about Satan, that she always felt like, but why is he bad then? Like, I just don't understand, like, because he wanted to know things, because, like, so why, like...
no, if it's true, then, like, everything's for a reason. God made him to do it.
Right.
Which is wild, right?
And I just feel like that's weird. See, my opinion. And so I started to feel like, well, and then the way they make Eve sound, I feel like when I started connecting with goddesses, I realized that she's not really a negative character. Like, they feel like she was, like, an abomination to society.
But I mean, according to Christian, she's also the mother of
she's the mother of humanity, if
the
that
Eve.
is. But yet we make it seem like she's the mother of sin, and it's her fault that everything's bad. And even our own mother feels that like God has to be a man because the world is in God's favor, in men's favor. And I feel like
because women, no, she also said because women feel pain and they have the birthing.
And I feel like, well, that means like
period.
that. Why? What? Like,
which to me is crazy because I feel like I don't think God is like a male or female. I think it's like a.
Well, to me, if it was either one, I feel like giving birth and stuff like that, pain or whatever, is power. So then why?
To be able to handle it
Yeah, exactly.
and not die, like we would just fucking.
But like animals,
Give up.
a lot
We
of
would
animals
cut it out
don't
immediately.
feel pain most of the time.
Yeah.
Well, they're not sinners. But we feel pain too. We're like.
I feel like
Men are always attacked. Like manhood is attacked constantly. That's why a lot of people grow up without real dads, or their dads aren't around, or they're not acting like dads, and everybody's attacked. So I mean, I don't know. It's all like it's a crazy test.
because men are told to withhold emotion, to withhold themselves, and they feel like that's what it means to be a man.
That's toxic masculinity. And I was gonna ask you, is there such thing as toxic femininity? And what would that
I feel like toxic.
be? Like kidnapping kids to be their mom?
No, I think toxic femininity is feeling like putting girls down for not being having a perfect body.
Like this is when women do it to other women?
Yeah, saying that women should be skinny, feel like women should be a certain way to their husband, like do everything for their husband, that man should have the final say, or just put down women for like not.
But it's also got to be things that they do towards men, though, right? Because toxic masculinity is what we do towards other men, but it's also what we do towards women.
It's just a thing that it impacts both women and men. Toxic masculinity.
I think it's just any toxic behavior. Right?
No, it has to do with saying toxic masculinity means like stuff that has to do with what people say is masculine. So men feeling like they need to be a little bit more buff because we feel that men are bigger, that's a toxic masculine trait. Feel like a man should be able to know how to build stuff, that's a toxic masculinity trait. And then that makes men feel inferior if they do not know how to do those things. They feel like they're not as manly. If they can't provide for their family, they feel less manly because we have put in society that is a masculine trait, when really that has nothing to do with. There's no importance to gender who
I feel like
bring money to the house.
It used to be, right?
Because that's what we put out there.
But I mean, like from the beginning, like the
Up until the last 100 years.
yeah,
not
it
even.
recently
money-
changed. So we're still like trying to like get over that. We're trying to like
Yeah.
figure that out.
Because we established that. It wasn't necessarily
Yeah.
natural because women still did just as much work, there just wasn't money.
Oh yeah, because the gathering,
Yeah.
the hunting and gathering, the gathering was important, and the women had to fight and hold it down, and oftentimes women took control of tribes.
Women were the medicine people, stuff like that.
And then having birth and living without no fucking painkillers, and like there's no C-section, so birth could kill mom and baby.
Right.
It's crazy.
Also, a lot of holistic stuff got me into witchcraft as well. Just learning about how much like natural stuff works, and
I think you were saying that
Witchcraft.
off the because like they use like natural stuff.
yeah, like my witchy book, I have a spell book. It's a lot like you can use it for sicknesses, things like that. Also, regular things that you use for natural holistic stuff like eucalyptus oil, tea tree oil could also be used in a spell.
They were one and the same, the medicine doctor, right? Back in the day.
Yeah.
And it was for the poor people. That's also how it continued. Medicine.
But that's why they had the snake and shit. Which snake is often seen as a bad thing, but I'm my Chinese astrology symbol is snake, and I think it's I don't know that whole Genesis snake thing is weird. I don't think it was actual like, but I don't know. Who knows? Who
I don't think it was either. I'm sure it was symbolic.
Snakes are pretty cool, man.
But it could have been a snake. That doesn't mean that all snakes are bad.
Right. Bro, that shit is on point. Cause like, yeah, sometimes, and this is my own personal opinion, but I don't think all cops are bastards. I think some of them had their dads. You know?
Yeah, for sure. I've definitely met, and I've ran into quite a few cops, but I've met a few that were cool.
Yeah.
To show me, like, okay, you're not all dicks.
Right.
For sure.
And not all
I mean, we're really
criminals are dicks.
Well, for sure.
And not all, I don't know. Not all teachers are great people. Yeah, the cake was fire. So, my man Cody right here, he also raps, makes beats. You got anything coming out soon, or you working on anything?
No, I'm just messing around right now, trying to find a new sound, trying to do some like rock instead of rap, actually.
So you're gonna do the vocals?
Yeah, for sure. I'm gonna try to do everything.
Okay.
Like, I've been playing the guitar. I'm trying to learn on that, so I need to play that more. I haven't much, but I'm doing that, and then just messing with the Ableton Live.
What's that?
My DAW, the beatmaker program, the production program.
Okay.
Yeah, just trying to learn that more.
Yeah. I'm supposed to record hopefully soon.
So man, where at? With your cousin?
Yeah, probably.
Okay.
Yeah, he sent me a couple beats that I wrote too.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, but if you ever want to do anything, man,
I mean, yeah, I would love to write something. I'm down. I mean, I've got a bunch of stuff written that I just never put on a beat, like, over the past year or so.
I usually have to. So, all right. So, do you like writing? Yvette's in the background. Do you prefer, like, you write your song a cappella without a beat, and then
I for sure have to have the beat first.
so you write to the beat?
Yeah, for sure.
Because I can write songs randomly and just like a cappella, and they're great.
It's really hard to find a beat.
But
to
they
match
connect
it.
it, yeah.
It's
Usually
such a hard.
or you gotta like cut it up and
Yeah,
shit. It's like I'd just rather just write a whole new thing for this particular beat.
Right,
how it's
especially because the beat is like talking itself. I feel like what you say on the beat matters. Like if you're saying, like you're talking about murder, but there's like light piano.
yeah, the vibe, there's a vibe, yeah, the energy.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah. Whoa, you just got a subscriber? Oh no, that's the YouTube thing. So how do you feel about the? Do you get scared? Do you ever think Yvette's gonna like put a spell on you?
For sure.
Yeah. Like a love spell,
Oh, we've
yeah.
got-
cleaning
done that.
spell.
Yeah.
You've already done it?
Mm-hmm.
You'll make
Yes,
love
like
hacks like
baths,
how
like she'll put, I don't know,
tea leaves.
flower petals, and
And
stuff
then we-
like
a dead
that.
bee.
And then we both get like really,
Probably, yeah.
really in the mood
Yeah.
for sexy time.
because of the bath.
He comes out with the humongous boner.
So that's conversation.
There you go, guys. If you listen all
But
the
I
way
don't
to
know
the
if it's the
47
bath or like the fact that, like that's why you did the bath in the first
And so he
place.
just
Right.
like knows like.
I think baths are like
but-
because they Roman bathhouses. They're just like erotic.
Right.
Baths are
Yeah.
crazy.
But I also do like kind of like spell like and connect with God as while doing the bath.
They say who was it? Megan, not the fox, not stallion, not
Megan the fox.
Megan.
The horse.
Yeah, Megan Fox. Yeah, and
Megan
MGK.
Fox.
They like exchange blood.
Yeah, they have like little necklace blood
Yeah.
bars. I'm not going that far for sure. Like
okay.
that's definitely where I draw the line. Self harm is.
Would you
definitely
like
the
take
line.
blood from him when he's asleep? You
No,
don't
but
have to
if he
admit it on
accidentally cut
camera.
himself, I'd probably take some.
Might as well save it.
Yeah,
Don't
like
waste
wait,
it.
don't
Yeah.
clean that yet.
Mhm. I've read that period blood is very powerful.
It's also where I'll draw the line.
I bet you poop blood is the most powerful.
What do you mean you would draw the line?
Like if you're gonna make me try to eat your period blood
No,
or
but
something.
no, already having sex on my period, I've already done spells on
Whoa, God didn't like that shit.
you.
Or the devil really enjoyed it.
Have you seen those posts? There's some posts like that on the internet. Like, don't ever have sex with a girl on their period because that's some like then you be thinking about her for like ever. It's like a spell. And then comments said like, man, these witch bitches think that's real funny too.
Have you heard that some people think that every time you jerk off, you're having sex with a demon? If that's true, the demons probably think I'm on board.
Yeah, for
Have sex with a lot of demons.
I don't
sure. Are
think
there
so.
any demons left?
Right. Are demons born every day? I don't know.
I used to ask God for forgiveness
After masturbating?
after jacking off, yeah.
You don't jack off. That's not what you do. I guess technically you beat your meat.
That's
You can say
one,
that.
I guess, like thing that I'm happy I didn't grow up religious or whatever. Is just
Guilt, the shame.
all the shame.
So you got to masturbate without any.
So you don't
Without
think-
any shame.
You don't think that comes
whatsoever.
naturally?
It definitely still came naturally, but
But do you?
it just seems like even more of like I've let you down. Like, I never felt that.
Like, but you didn't
That
want your
whole
parents to
Catholic
do
It was
that.
just my parents. And, like, by a certain age, I didn't care what my parents thought pretty early. So,
Right.
You did it with the door open.
yeah, it's just like, hey, what's up?
That's how videos
Up
start.
to you if you want to come by or not.
I always hated getting caught. I got caught a few times.
It's the worst thing ever.
It is.
I guess if I had a teenager,
Getting caught with your pants down is literally getting caught
I
with
would
your
like
pants
be
down.
walking to the hall like with the horn.
Well, everybody should be wearing bells.
Just hitting the wall. That's what I used to do every time I walked.
I'm coming!
Walk
Like,
into
for
the
real.
computer room with my dad or Chris were in there. So making
Why you
sure-
think he was watching porn too?
Of course.
That's where I get it from. Shout out
What
to
do
my
you
dad.
mean?
Hey, I definitely get it from my dad. He had like found a stash of DVDs at like
I'm
11
pretty
years
sure
old, probably.
everybody's dad.
No, it's not everybody's. It's not
Everybody's
everybody's.
dad was looking at a Playboy or something.
Yeah, no, there was like 50 DVDs here. It was ridiculous.
Holy
It was
shit.
crazy.
I'm glad I got rid of them.
DVDs.
I threw away my DVDs. My son will never see them.
My ex, at one time found his
I mean, but nowadays.
a binder
Baby, what does it matter?
full of them,
Yeah.
and it felt like horrifying finding it. Just looking at all the names, it was like, what? What?
That's terrible.
It's like gaping,
It is like small, you know, like small
tall,
P's and
Oh,
big
yeah.
D's. I'm just like, why? And
gangbang.
big black D's. Like, why? Why? I don't understand. Like, why are these so specific and weird? Like, I don't understand. And I'm just like, you're
studying
I'm just like,
science.
Who is you? Are like, you're an animal. You're disgusting. Like, I just felt like there's a binder hole. He's like, it's not mine. I'm like, this is fucking weirder.
Yeah,
Like-
who let you borrow their binder? And
Yeah.
Who was just like, hey man?
they
like,
didn't
I
have
don't-
like people didn't
Fully
clean
old
shit back
version.
then.
Who was like, oh, this is a cool. Like, did you ask to borrow this? Like, I like, this looks fun. Like, I don't.
Porn is also very racist.
It's weird.
It's
I don't understand those specifics.
wild. It's dangerous.
Very dangerous.
It's evil. That's black magic. I mean
Yeah.
dark magic.
Yeah.
Which is that it kind of sucks.
That's what dark magic is. People feel like all this other stuff, like maybe some blood rituals are, but what I feel like really
Yeah.
is like the stuff like
Like frazzle drip if you're like getting deep into conspiracies.
fucking up things that fucking up children, fucking up like, you know what I mean, stuff that have to do with sex trafficking, like the way that porn stars are treated. That's the kind of stuff that I feel like is black
The
magic.
aggressiveness, yeah.
Yeah, and then putting that out there and putting that people under that spell, that's black magic.
So like, I guess some would call her the #1 porn star. I think she dated she didn't date Jake Paul, but she dated Jake Paul's homeboy. Her name is Lana Rhoades or whatever. She recently said that porn should not exist, and that because there's a big like push towards like positivity, and I mean you should respect sex workers,
Right.
but I guess the industry shouldn't exist because she said like they just fuck you up, like it's all mental, it's just all
Right.
bad, and some people are upset like, and she's like well she made it. I agree with her, like I understand why she's saying that, like it's gotta be horrible.
It's gotta be
And people
worse.
can do stuff and then later on feel like, oh wait, that was wrong.
Yeah.
Well, especially if if people sign contracts like artists all the time and get screwed over their deal, not reading all the fine print, I can't imagine.
Whoa, like the porn star contract, like you gotta
Yeah.
suck this much and do this, you
Yeah.
gotta do anal.
They don't realize
Yeah.
a lot of times they're like during film, they things can start happening to them that they did not agree to, and they have to keep going and acting like they agreed to it even if they did not want that. So sometimes
Because they want to
it'll
keep
be,
getting jobs. and
literal
shit.
rape is
Yeah.
happening on film, and we cannot even realize it because they're trying
Never
to act it
know.
out.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's fucking crazy. That's dark magic, yo. And people are out there like coming to that shit, that dark energy. You're not even realizing you're not in the rape.
And then it's like
That's
when
exactly-
you nut, whatever is going through your mind is kind of like you kind of manifest that. You know what I mean? That's a lot of energy going out. into
That's
the
why they
world.
say Jesus said like if you're gonna cheat, if you already thought about it, you already basically did it because
Right.
that energy you already created that
Right.
Well,
scenario.
see, I have my friend of mine told me that if you can use coming to manifest.
That's the DNA I use. That's
So,
Crystal told me to use on the
If
thing.
you like right afterwards, just think about like something you really want instead of just like cleaning up and just like finishing up, like you just laying there in it, and you know, like and just kind of like
Wasting
whatever,
it.
just thinking like all in your mind, nothing have to do with the nut. I don't know because I'm not a boy, so I don't have, you know, like whatever, you know what I'm saying. So after you,
We know what you're saying.
yeah, so that you're supposed to just like think about what you really want. So let's say it's money, a car, something like that. So you're right, Scruffy. Cody?
I'm gonna think about this podcast, guys, next time I do it.
Don't think about me.
No, not this particular episode, just the Friday podcast being a success.
Oh.
That's the show.
Yeah, not episode 102.
But yeah, so you're right. So like if you're coming to that, then you're kind of manifesting that. And they have all that like incest.
Bro.
It's
That's
so,
I mean,
the
whoa,
thing.
bro. Step bro. That's why I was telling you, like, if you adopt a teenager, he's gonna think, because there's a whole
He's
thing.
gonna be a pervert because he's a teenager.
Right. He's gonna think that you're stuck in the washing machine. I mean, in the dryer. That's what always happens in the videos.
He's gonna be so predisposed to these scenarios.
Yeah, probably not, but
Hopefully not.
that'd be crazy.
hopefully not. I've seen people adopt.
Those are the stupidest scenarios. There was this one where there was like, it was during COVID, and she was like, "Oh, I don't have one of those. What do you call them? Masks." And it's like, it's dumb. It's like, it was crazy. Sorry, I mean, she was huh?
So what happened?
Cause it was like quarantine porn, so like there she was like, "Fuck it, we're gonna do it anyway." It was a weird. There's not a lot of that. There wasn't a lot that came out because usually, even though porn is not PC, and at the same time it is, they're very inclusive.
Right.
Really?
They want you to be vaxxed. It's like,
Really?
yeah,
That's weird.
yeah,
Oh, that's interesting.
That's a weird thing that you read.
yeah,
Oh, but they're pro-rape.
yeah.
Rape all you want as long as you got that vaccine.
Well, look, I love Disney movies, but Disney had a cruise that went to Epstein Island.
Really?
They've always had like their own little secret
Right.
stuff.
You know what though? From learning from that
Victoria's Secret.
Victoria's Secret thing, he seems like he kind of just like puts his foot in things.
That guy was evil. Was the Victoria's Secret guy?
Yeah.
Well,
yeah.
he is evil, but he's money hungry, obviously. But I feel like Epstein kind of just like takes over things, and then like he makes deals with people, and then kind of like uses their money and their connection to do his own thing.
Man, it's crazy how
So it
people are
makes-
so
makes it
charismatic that they can
seem
do that.
Like
That's wild.
he puts another company or their name on top of what he's doing to
Have
make
you-
it seem like they're kind of
have
doing
you
it. So it's
watched
not
that?
necessarily always.
Well, there's also like there was a guy who got a bunch of chicks to give him money. Like, they were rich women who owned like restaurants
Right.
and shit, and he got away
He
with it.
seemed to
The
be very
Victoria's Secret guy
manipulative.
signed over Victoria's Secret to him at one point in like 99 to 04 or something. It
Epstein?
was all in Epstein's name.
But they're too
Wow.
scared of him. Like, and then I think he obviously blackmails them somehow.
Yeah, for sure.
Little girls.
Yeah.
He puts them probably in a weird situation, tricks them, and then makes them do something weird, and then like, well, now I got you.
Cause like, yeah, they're 18 next month, and
Yeah.
they're like, oh, fuck, and it's on camera, bitch. But you knew that. That was an hour. We started talking about Epstein. That's pretty crazy.
That's when it's getting off the rails.
That's when you know it's about time to wrap up. Appreciate y'all for joining. Much love. We'll have y'all on again soon. Maybe we'll have our own podcast too. Well, we kind of do, but it's just audio. These are those people. Much love. Peace.